Thank you for joining us today for our special news broadcast. Today we have several reporters out to discuss contemporary theater, diversity within theater, and the influence theater, especially musicals, have today. We're going to our field reporter Anna to give us a deeper understanding on diversity theater.
Hi, this is Anna. Welcome to the Cultural Diversity section. In 2013, there were a lot of theaters that presented plays in all the USAs, even more than 215,000 performances. This was more than 30 million people who attend these plays. Also, this performance directly contribute over 2 billion to their local economies. That is a lot. In the United States, theater is very important and a very good source of culture. But there are a lot of people here in the USA from different countries, cultures, beliefs that since the 60s years have rebelled against marginalization and have asserted their determination to have their word acknowledged and their needs met in theater. Trying to be part of it and expressing different things, feelings, or issues that they were facing. One of these cultures is African American. Since the early 19th century, Black people have been influenced in theater, even when at the beginning they only showed plays that were like Shakespeare plays. They used theater to talk about important issues for them, like slavery, through plays like The Escape or A Leap of Freedom. To the beginning of the 20th century, there were some important African American people who wrote plays. One of the most knowledge is Angelina Grimke. Another important culture that have influenced theater in the USA is Latino theater. The first play that was performed in the USA that we know was performed by Spanish soldiers in El Paso, Texas in 1598. But the next year, the theater in Spanish was not so common until the late 19th century, beginning in California and Texas, and in other places or cities that border with Mexico. Because of the Great Depression, the Spanish theater was in a break or stop, but in 1960, the Latino theater began to have more interest and cover more strength with the play El Teatro Campesino, where Luis Valdés, the writer, tried to express the plight of migrant workers in California. We can see how these two important cultures have influenced in USA theater and how important they were to express social issues. Please continue with my fellow reporters to learn more about other cultures.
Thank you, Anna. We are now going to Kimberly to expand on theater diversity for other cultures.
I'm Kimberly Holm reporting live from our studio today with some breaking news headlines. Asian American theater. Asian Americans have made their mark on contemporary theater. San Francisco, for example, maintained a Beijing Opera Company until the 1940s. Asian Americans began to write their own plays and found their own theaters. Some of the most important of these companies were the East West Players, Northwest Asian American Theater Company, the Asian American Theater Workshop. Today, in addition to clusters of Asian American theaters on the East and West Coasts, several Midwestern cities maintain Asian American performing arts groups. Asian American playwrights have also played a very important role in development of Asian American theater. A great example of this would be Frank Chin. He was the first Asian American playwright to have his work staged in a mainstream New York theater. Native American theater, the first all Native American company, the Native American Theater Ensemble, was founded by Hene Guioma, 1972, with support from La Mama Company in New York. It presented plays based on myths and contemporary life with the aim of building pride in the Native American heritage. The American Indian Community House in New York has long served as a community center for Native Americans living in New York and has actually maintained a performing arts program that has sought to revive authentic Native American rituals and performances. The Clan House is a Native American theater company group in Alaska, which has actually performed its adaptations, myths, and numerous theater festivals in the United States and Europe. Other Native American performers include Elvira and Hortensia Colorado, founders of the Colaque Theater Company. Their play Walks of Indian Woman traces the history of Native American women since pre-Columbia times. And the last headline I have for you today is Theater by and for Women. Dating back to ancient Greece, women did not previously have a place in theater. They were actually portrayed and played by men for years. The women in these shows had feminine characteristics, which while the men, on the other hand, portrayed characters that were violent and aggressive. They have influenced plays written by women. Beginning in the 1970s, a number of theaters were performed to present the work of feminist writers. Some of the most important of these have been the Looking Glass Theater, New George's Six Figures Theater Company, Voice and Vision, Woman Seeking, Spider Woman Theater, and the Women's Projects and Productions, all in New York. Some female playwrights have written almost exclusively for feminist theaters and have not sought a better, broader audience. Others have won recognition in mainstream theaters, among the first. A great example of this would be Marsha Norman. She achieved success with her first play, Getting Out, which was voted the best new play by the American Theater Critics Association in 1977. Beth Henleys was another great female writer who gained early critical acclaim for her play Crimes of the Heart, winner of the Pulitzer Prize in 1981. And last but certainly not least, Wendy Wasserstein is best known for the Heidi Chronicles, which won the 1989 Pulitzer Prize and actually became the first play written by a woman to receive and win a Tony Award. That's all I have for you today. Back to you.
Amazing, Kimberly. We're now going to our field reporter, Monty, who I'm being told is right outside the Lyceum Theater. Monty, over to you.
Emily, I'm standing outside the Lyceum Theater on Broadway tonight. As we reported a few months ago, the LGBTQ plus musical A Strange Loop ended its Broadway run on January 15th. The show earned numerous accolades, including the Tony Award for Best Musical and Best Book of a Musical. Gay and lesbian theater has been an important and influential aspect of the theatrical landscape since the 1960s. This genre explores the experiences of LGBTQ plus individuals and community. Overall, gay and lesbian theater has played a vital role in promoting greater visibility and acceptance for LGBTQ plus individuals and communities, and has helped to promote a more diverse and inclusive theatrical landscape. As this genre continues to evolve and grow, it is sure to remain an important and influential aspect of the cultural landscape for years to come. Switching gears now to performance art. Performance art has been a prominent feature of theater since the 1990s. Performance art is a form of theater that combines elements of visual art, dance, and other creative disciplines, often focusing on the body and the performer's relationship with the audience. Many contemporary performances now incorporate multimedia elements such as video projections, soundscapes, and interactive installations to create an immersive experience for the audience. One example of this is this scene of performance art from Charles Mies' Bob Rauschenberg, America, which is an eclectic theatrical sampling of Americana, inspired by the work of found object artist Robert Rauschenberg. I'd like to end my report tonight with the postmodern influences. Postmodernism has had profound impact on interpretation and design in theater. It is a cultural movement that emerged in the late 20th century, characterized by rejection of traditional aesthetic and cultural norms, and a tendency toward fragmentation, irony, and self-reference. Another key aspect of postmodernism is its emphasis on deconstruction, or the process of breaking down and analyzing the elements of theatrical work. Shown here is Samuel Beckett's Endgame, as performed by American Repertory Theater in 1984. Beckett threatened to withdraw ART's permission to perform this play because he deemed the interpretation a distortion of his work. Overall, postmodernism has had a transformation effect on theater, encouraging performers and designers to challenge traditional modes of interpretation and embrace a more self-conscious and reflective approach to theatrical production. For BYU Idaho TV and the Broadway Report, This is Monty Skinner. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow. Emily, back to you in the studio.
How exciting! Thank you, Monty. We have Cascade discussing contemporary theater. Over to you, Cascade.
Hello and good morning. For our news report today, we will be talking about contemporary British drama. In recent years, contemporary British drama has been making waves both in the UK and around the world, from edgy political charged works to heart-wrenching family dramas. British playwrights have been exploring a wide range of themes and subjects with powerful and often thought-provoking results. One of the most prominent voices in contemporary British drama is Carl Churchill, whose plays such as Top Girls and Cloud Nine have challenged traditional notions of gender and sexuality while exploring the impact of political and social structures on individual lives. Similarly, Martin McDonagh's works such as The Pillowman and The Beauty Queen of Lenain have gained worldwide acclaim for their dark humor and exploration of violence and power dynamics. Other notable playwrights include David Hare, whose plays such as Skylight and The Absence of War offer searing critiques of the political establishment, and Sarah Kane, whose works such as Blasted and 4.48 Psychosis explore trauma and the limits of human endurance. Contemporary British drama has also seen a growing interest in verbatim and documentary theatre, with plays such as Alicky Blythe's London Road and Lucy Preble's Enron, using real-life interviews and testimonies to create powerful, immersive theatrical experiences. Overall, contemporary British drama offers a rich and diverse range of voices and perspectives, reflecting on the complex and ever-changing nature of modern life. Whether you love theater or are simply looking for an evening of thought-provoking entertainment, there's no doubt that contemporary British drama has something to offer. Our next news report that we will be having, it talks about the next wave of contemporary American playwrights. There are quite a few new voices in American drama, many of them once considered marginal, that fully exemplify the increasing crossover and diversity of contemporary theater. There are varied religious backgrounds and cultural heritages. Some are straight, some are gay, and many are racially diverse ancestry. Some of these playwrights studied their craft at prestigious Ivy League schools known for their drama programs. Others, like Tracy Letts, never finished college. Examined as a group, these playwrights suggest the increasing diversity, depth, and complexity of American drama. Tracy Letts was a founding member of the critically acclaimed but now defunct Bang Bang Spontaneous Theater. Since 2002, Letts has been an ensemble member of the Steppenwolf Theater Company, working regularly as an actor and with increasing success as a playwright. His first play was Killer Joe. Another one is Bug. Another one he has written is Man from Nebraska. The next person we will be talking about is Quiara Alegria Hughes. She's a playwright who has found success independently and in collaboration on her musicals. She wrote the book for In the Heights. She also wrote what is known as the Eliot trilogy. Eliot, A Soldier's Fugue, Water by the Spoonful, and The Happiest Song Plays Last. For our last news report, we have talking about the origins of musical theater. The origins of musical theater began in New York. A beloved form of entertainment that combines drama, music, and dance can be traced back to the early 19th century in America. While musical theater has its roots in a variety of forms, including opera, it is the unique combination of these elements that has come to define the genre. The first true musical theater production in America is widely considered to be The Black Crook, which debuted at Niblo's Garden in New York City in 1866. The show featured a storyline of good versus evil, elaborate costumes and sets, and original music and dance numbers. It was a commercial success and ran for 400 performances, setting the stage for the development of musical theater as we know it today. However, the history of musical theater is more complex than just one show. The roots of the genre can be traced back to minstrel shows and other forms of popular entertainment, where music and comedy were combined with theatrical performances. Vaudeville, which emerged in the late 19th century, also played a significant role in shaping the musical theater landscape. Musical theater evolved throughout the early 20th century with groundbreaking shows like Showboat in 1927 and Oklahoma.
Absolutely wonderful. We now go to Josh, who is going to give us a glimpse into the world of musicals.
Thank you, Emily. In today's news, we are going back in time to the golden age of musicals. Here we have America's greatest and most significant contribution to the world of theater, which are musicals. What more could you want from theater? Music, dance, and a story? What a wonderful combination. From 1943 to 1968 became the golden age. Undisputed leaders of the golden age were Rodgers and Hammerstein, who produced Oklahoma in 1943, which marked the beginning of the golden age. They also wrote musical classics such as Carousel, South Pacific, The King and I, and The Sound of Music. Rodgers and Hammerstein, interestingly enough, wrote the music before the lyrics. Oklahoma was the first musical to feature a two-person opening scene, a dream ballad, and the integration of song, dance, and dialogue. Wow. Rodgers and Hammerstein were awarded a special prize called the Pulitzer Prize for Oklahoma, and they went on to win another one for South Pacific. After Oklahoma, the integrated book musical became the norm, and generation of writers were poised to execute the form to popular success. The Golden Age would produce a string of musical hits, many of which are still on stage today. Next, we have alternatives to the book musical. While Broadway has long been the major venue for musicals, the advent of off-Broadway in the 1950s opened the door for experimentation for small-scale shows or for material not deemed fit for mainstream audiences. In fact, one of the most popular musicals of all time has never even played on Broadway, and yet it helped redefine the possibilities of what could constitute a successful musical. The Fantastics, produced in 1960, tells the story of two well-meaning fathers trying to trick their children into falling in love. While their initial plan goes awry by show's end, and the children have found their way back to each other. Next, we have rock musicals. Rock musicals bring a more radical change to the musical scene with their counterculture epitomized by rock music. Hair was released on Broadway in 1968, which brought an end to the golden age of musicals. Hair offered a new alternative for what might be used as subject matter for a musical and explored different dance and music. Another famous rock musical was Grease, which opened in New York in 1972, which became the most successful rock musical ever. Concept musicals. Then we have Stephen Sondheim, who brought concept musicals to life. A concept musical downplays the narrative and instead focuses on the central issue, event, or theme. Sondheim, who also contributed to the golden age of musicals by writing lyrics for popular musicals like West Side Story, took musicals to a new direction in 1970 as he experimented with various approaches. One of those approaches was building a show around a central issue. The first of these was Company, produced in 1970, which focused on a 35-year-old bachelor, Bobby, his 3 girlfriends, wow, and 5 married couples. Sondheim's concept musicals were somewhat composer-driven with very complex musical scores. Others had a different style, which included more choreography. We go to my best friend, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and the mega musicals. Andrew Lloyd Webber is considered the most successful musical writer of the post-Golden Age. Webber also came out with the mega musicals, which emphasize spectacle over substance. There are several key traits of a mega musical. The first, they're sung through with little, if any, dialogue. Second, the songs and emotions are big, loud, and bombastic. Characterization is often explained rather than dramatized. The musical trends to be rock, pop, and does not reflect the sound of any particular era. The plots are melodramatic with limited humor. And lastly, all major professional stagings are carbon copies. That's all we have today. From me, back to you, Emily.
Thank you, Josh, for that amazing history recap about musicals. All these influences lead us to modern Broadway theater. As you may know, musical theater has had an upsurge in mainstream popularity, and we attribute this to several factors during the mid-1990s. Theater went through a full revitalization process with the shows that they were offering and also the place that they were offering them in. Renovation to the 42nd Street area and the theaters came to Broadway. In the 1970s and 80s, Times Square was a less than ideal place for family and friends to gather. There were a lot of immoral acts, drug use, and violence that were prevalent in that area. At a great expense, the theaters on 42nd Street were refurbished and the town's stores shipped over due to mayor's orders. This led to 42nd Street area becoming more family-friendly. The Disney Corporation played a big role in their refurbishment. They refurbished the actual theaters on Broadway and then debuted their first Broadway musical, Beauty and the Beast. All of these dynamic new changes attracted new audiences, and the hype around Broadway theater was underway. We get musicals based on novels, films, and pop music, with musicals such as Mamma Mia, based off of the popular songs from the band ABBA, Legally Blonde, based off an early 2000s movie with the same title, Wicked, based off of the novel Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, just to name a few because there are many other examples. We even get vice versa, with films adapting from Broadway musicals, such as the popular musicals Into the Woods, Hairspray, and Les Mis. Broadway still produces shows with such diverse ranges of styles and content, which indicates the continuing vitality and possibilities of the form known as musical theater. The history and development of each production is an art form with cultural significance for some, and with a glimpse of the imagination into amazing storytellers. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again for some more theater news.